but we're talking about digital courses, and I put this on Instagram. I put this on Instagram, and then I also put it on inside my Facebook group. And I said, what questions do you guys have? Now, let me tell you where all of this came from. I was just talking to the platform people inside of a study hall, and I said, like all of this really sparked from, one, my passion for really creating good digital courses. My courses have always, even in the onset, have had very high success rates, high completion rate, high success rates, because curriculum is one of the things that I'm really, really, I don't like to use the word passion. I feel like I overuse that word, but I'm adamant about making sure that curriculum works inside of courses. I will never create a course for the sake of creating a course to say I have one. I won't do that. Having said that, I think that every online entrepreneur needs one. You need a digital course. If you don't have a course, then you're missing out. And it's not just about money. I think a lot of people, they'll want to create a course. It's like, oh, like there's money in courses. There's money. Sorry about my hair. There's money in, hey, AJ, hey, Shara, there's money in courses. There's, everyone's selling online courses. And while that may be true, I think a lot of our learning is going digital. We're looking at, by the end of 2025, over $300 billion is going to be in the digital learning industry. So if you don't have an online course right now, then you need one. And so hopefully this live stream will inspire you to create it. And I'm going to answer some of your questions as well. But I was reading an article. I don't even know how I happened upon the article, but I was reading an article that said something like, courses are dead. No one's making courses. It's not going to work. I don't think that that's true. I don't think it's true at all, especially looking at where statistics are going. I will say that bad courses are dead. Like that is absolutely for sure. Bad courses dying out. And I think what we're starting to see in the online industry is we're really starting to see the separation between the good coaches and consultants and the ones that aren't so good, the ones that are just hopping on the bandwagon because they're trying to just make a buck. Like there are people who are really passionate about this and have a lot to offer and have a lot to share and a lot of content that they can create and give to the world. And then there are people who really don't care so much about helping people at all. All they really want to do is quit their 9-to-5 job. And this seems like the fastest way to do it. Let me let you know right now, that is phasing out. Like those people will quickly get separated from the rest of the pack because the coaching industry, I'll talk a little bit about that. The coaching industry as a whole is the best industry to be in right now. The coaching and consulting world. It is the fastest growing industry in the world. Women especially are starting businesses at a rate of 900 per day. 900 women-owned businesses are being started every single day. A lot of those are in the coaching and consulting vein. It's not going anywhere because the coaching as a form of help has been around since the beginning of time. Like we can go back to like Mount Olympus, right? Like it's been around forever. A lot of people will say coaching is dead. The online world is, no, it's not. Those people are trying to create like a fear-based mentality for you. Don't buy into that. If you in your heart have this desire to be a coach or a consultant, now's the best time to dive in. Having said that, coaching as an industry, the reason why it's the fastest growing is because it's low barrier to entry. Anybody can declare themselves a coach, right? One day you can wake up and be like, today I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to do so it's low barrier to entry. There's no certification required. A lot of my research was on this. So I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds of pages of me researching and writing about how there's no central certification for coaches. Anybody at any point can declare, hey guys, can declare themselves a coach. So low barrier to entry, but high barrier of success, meaning that there may be a lot of coaches out there, but only 90% of those coaches are going to fail at this. And it's not because they're not talented or they're not gifted or they don't have the capacity to be a coach. A lot of the times, or a consultant, a lot of the times they just don't have the structure or the strategy to really follow through. So when I did my research, and mind you, my coach, he tells me this all the time. I don't know if he's on here, but he tells me this all the time. He's like, Tracy, you don't realize your capability in this industry. He says, he always tells me, he said, you know more than 99% of people in the industry. Because it is my area of research. I have There's nobody else who has researched this industry more than I have. And if you find somebody else who has done the work and done the research on it and done this like an actual empirical study that's been peer reviewed by an institutional review board, if you can find that person who's done it on the coaching industry in the online space, please introduce me to that person, because I think we should be friends. But there's nobody else, I mean, that I know of who knows this industry the way that I do, because I spent so many years researching it. Not even just and then couple that with the fact that I actually am a coach, and I don't just have empirical evidence, written in a book somewhere, based off of, hundreds and hundreds of pages and hours of research, but really like the experience, because I've run, I've always based the way that I coach and the way that I create program based off of experience, education, and my research. So I come from theory. I don't always say, well, this is the theory that we're going to be talking. I don't always do that. But if you ask me, well, Tracy, why do you teach this way? Or why are you doing this way? It's theoretical based. Like I will always come from a position of theory when I do that. So I just want to let you guys know, because in this industry, low barrier to entry, high barrier of success. You will start to see the separation very soon. Okay, so let me just make that clear. Secondly, when it comes to digital courses, a lot of the time people slap things together and then create a course. They're to their detriment, right? Because I read the quote that I saw, it said, that success, or I would say successful, what we deem as successful course creators aren't really successful. They're not educators. They are marketers, they're salespeople. And I think that that's true, like honestly. And that's why so many online courses aren't very good, is because these are not educators. I have a doctorate in education because again, this industry is my career of choice. Like I didn't just happen upon it because I woke up one day and said I want to be a coach. As a matter of fact, it was kind of accidental that I even ended up here. But if I was going to adopt it as what my life's work was going to be, then I was going to be certain that I knew more about it than anybody else. Right? And that's just me. That has nothing to do with what anybody else is doing. I'm just saying, because for me, that's important. If I'm creating something, I'm creating it specifically off of here's why we're doing it this way. And it's funny because a lot of my clients will come, like Platform, for example, at the very end, they'll say, oh my God, it just clicked. All of a sudden, all of it clicked, right? There's a method to why I do things a certain way. There's a method to why I even create programs at the length that they're created. Sometimes if you're looking at something and they say, build a business in 30 days, no, you're not building a business in 30 days. I don't care who they are, what they're claiming. They're selling you on the urgency of it. They're selling you on the fact that people want microwave mentality. They want to be able to put something in and pop it out. I think I just spit on myself and pop it out. And then out comes like this, multi-million-dollar business. And that's not how it works. And I'm telling you, it's not how it works. Now, I also won't lie to you. I built my business in 30 days. So I know it's possible because my business was built in 30 days, but it is not the normal. So I never teach somebody to, even though I've done it, I never will teach somebody that they can build a business in 30 days. You know why? Because I have the research to back up the fact that that's not how long it takes. The majority of the people, it takes significant, 6 months is usually where it lies, like 4 to 6 months for people to really start seeing traction. So when I created Platform, for example, it is a 7-month mark. We have like 3 months in the fall and then 3 months in the spring because we have like a little bit of a break where we're still working. But I've sped it up to the point where they see the results in that time. Some people, it takes years. As a matter of fact, I have a client who just messaged me today. She said, I can tell you, she said, it took me 1.5 years to narrow down my niche. I worked with her back in 2016. And, when you become a client of mine, like you kind of become family. So, they'll text me from time to time. But she sent me a text message and she was like, finally narrowed it down. I was like, perfect. Sometimes it does take people a lot longer. Thank you, Shaniqua. Still clicking 2 months later. It happens, and that's okay. And you have the permission to do that as long as you're constantly moving forward. We're going to get into digital courses in a second, I promise. But yeah, as long as you're consistently moving forward in the process, then you're doing it. There's a reason why I get to do the things that I do. There's a reason why I have the audience that I have, right? It's because I'm going to approach this in a very scientific way, but also practical because I want people to succeed at it. So, okay, so let me answer some of the questions about courses. First of all, I just wanted to hit the nail on the head in terms of no, courses aren't dead. Courses are extremely valuable. The trajectory of the digital course industry is only increasing. However, that will increase with the people who are taking it, or the people who are creating good ones. There's a lot of really bad courses out there. So hopefully I can help you navigate that road so that you're not creating something that people aren't getting results from. Because if you create a system or you create a course and no one gets results from it, you can be the best marketer. I mean, you can sell ice to an Eskimo, you can do all that stuff and sell a course. But if no one's getting results from what it is you're having them walk through, then it's really pointless, because you can't sell it again, because you don't have the social proof to back up that this is a system that is working for people. So you have to make sure that the curriculum that you create, and this is, you guys, listen to me when I say the curriculum is what matters in the course. I mean, even if you take a look at regular traditional education, curriculum matters. They don't just slap courses at universities and say, all right, you know what, we just need to teach this, so we're going to throw it up there and we're going to teach whatever we want. No, there is a systematic way to creating curriculum. It's something that I teach inside a platform. It's something that the VIPs are going to get early access to. So if you're on the VIP, if you're not on the VIP list, I'm about to stand on a soapbox for a second. If you're not on the VIP list, listen to me when I say, some of you have been with me for a year. Some of you were with me when I launched platform last year, and you, for whatever reason, decided that it was not the opportunity for you. And now you're coming back here again, and you're in the same position that you were in last year. Let me offer up to you that I don't want you to be in that position in 365 days from now. So the opportunity is going to open up for you again. Sometimes opportunity does not come in the container that we think it's going to come in. Sometimes the opportunity is going to be an interruption. Sometimes the opportunity is going to require us to stretch forward. That is okay. You have to accept those challenges as a part of your growth. Because what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people who message me throughout the year asking me, when is it open? When is it? Well, you know what? It opened a year ago and you decided to say no. So again, this is something that I know there are so many people out there who have a desire to grow in this area, to really not just create followers, not just have Instagram likes, but really desire to share a message with people. You really have something that is valuable to offer somebody, and you want the world to know, because it is of service. And really that's why we're all here. It's really to just be of service to other people, because maybe you've gone through some things and those things have led you to a place where you are now, and you want to share that message with someone else and you want to walk them through it. Or maybe God told you, listen, there's a calling on your life, and you need to stand on a stage somewhere, and you're like, God, I don't know how that's going to happen. Well, we have to get started. I mean, it's not just going to magically happen. No one's going to knock on your doorstep and then ask you to speak to 10,000 people. We have to get the process going, get the ball rolling. So when I say the platform is opening in a little over 30 days. You can't register for it now, but in a little over 30 days, platform will open to the VIP list. Get on the VIP list so that you have access to the special bonuses there, which means access to me, coaching by me. Not everybody gets one-on-one coaching, only the VIP people. It means that you get the discount. You get the 2017 price, not the 2018 price. It means that there are some other special things that you're going to get access to, like early trainings, right? A goal setting workshop that we're going to kick the entire system off with, so that we know where we're going. We create the trajectory for ourselves. So I'm just letting you know now. You'll hear me talk about it more as we get closer, but you can't pay for it now. It doesn't open for a little over 30 days, but I'm just letting you know that it's available and it is coming. So you do whatever it is you need to do to get your mind right, to get your money straight, because it's coming. And 365 days from now, actually 6 months from now, your life will be a lot different. You will have a viable business, or at least the idea of a business, and we're going to start making money. Everybody who has gone through the program has made money. We have mapped out millions of dollars of revenue for people inside the program. This could be you. Right, but you have to make the choice. All right, digital courses. Let me go into, I'm going to go on Instagram first, and I'm going to answer those questions because it's just easier for me at this moment. All right, so here we are. We have some questions from Instagram that I'm going to answer. So somebody is taking, so to Slayed by Kim B. She said she's taking a cup of coffee to stay awake because she really wanted to get on the live stream. So Kim, if you're on here, yes, girl, yes. And thank you, Shaniqua, for just affirming that curriculum helped pull out of, yes. And you're a teacher, so you know the importance of good curriculum. So I just want to say thank you, Shaniqua. She's amazing. If you want to write a book, holler at her because she has a program up for you. She also is writing a screenplay, which is also going to be amazing. So yeah, okay, here we go. Questions. So Kiana says, what could a spiritual teacher possibly focus on? What is the niche? Well, first, the niche is spirituality, obviously, and spiritual teachings. There's a lot of things that you can do from the platform of spirituality. I think finding the niche is really going to matter because when you create a course, you want there to be, you have to reverse engineer the process. So what I mean is this. What is the end game for the course? What is it that what transformation do you want people to get at the end of them taking this program, right? And from there, you are going to work backwards. You're going to say, okay, if I want them, if she wants them to elevate their spirituality, or maybe that's the goal, like to elevate their spirituality in the way they never have before and tap into, I don't know, their divine feminine. Let's just say that's what it is, their divine feminine. So what you're going to do is say, okay, at the end of this course, I want somebody to tap into their divine feminine. If I was going to walk somebody through that process of tapping into their divine feminine, what would that look like? How I create my courses is I brain dump everything. I throw everything on a sheet of paper. It's usually several sheets of paper. Hold on, somebody is calling me. Sorry, I'm just going to text them and let them know that I am actually live streaming. So there's that. Okay, so you're going to brain dump. The ideas that you have to walk somebody from no attachment or no knowledge of their divine feminine into what does that look like? What are all of the steps that it requires? Don't put it in order. Don't try and create modules. I think that's a fallacy, is people start to go, okay, module 1. What would I put in module 1? No, we have to go from the end game to the beginning. So from the end, like walk backwards and say, what is everything they need to know? What is everything that I would walk somebody through to get to that end result? Then from there, you will organize everything. I use a lot of Post-its when I'm doing all of my organizing. So let's say I have a full sheet of everything is on this paper. Everything that I'm going to teach somebody is on this sheet of paper. Then I will grab Post-it notes. I'll grab Post-it notes and then I'll lay them out on my table and I'll start to write, okay, I'll take all of the bullet points and I'll put them on Post-its as they lump together, right? So then that's how you create modules. That's how you start to build out your curriculum, is really just walking them through. Now, as the expert, this is what I tell people inside a platform. As the expert, you know how long it takes for somebody to go from 0 to hero with your program or your system. Like a lot of times people second guess themselves and they start to go, well, how many modules should I have in a course? As many as it takes. There's 24 inside a platform. So there's that. Some people will say, oh, only have, don't have any more than 12. Well, mine took 24. So there's that. And that's what it is, right? But I'll tell you that a lot of people who are not experts in curriculum, but have made courses will say, don't have any more than 12. I'm telling you, it takes longer if it takes longer, and that's what we're doing. So you know how long it takes. A lot of times people try to squeeze gallon-sized results in like a teacup of a container. That's how you have the people who are like, yeah, build a course in 30 days or whatever. That's not realistic. And I actually don't think it's in integrity for a leader to position themselves in that way. Because when you've done the research like I've done, I will tell you that is not the reality for the majority of the successful people in the online space. They're not building successful businesses in 30 days. Even if it worked for you, because it did for me, even if it worked for you, it does not work for the vast majority. And you have to understand that your audience does not learn or does not absorb content the same way that you do. My audience does not absorb content the way that I do. I make them all take a personality test, as a matter of fact, so that I know. And everyone is different. Everyone learns in a different way. You cannot create curriculum based off of only your experience, because that is irresponsible. So understand, you can even look this stuff up, and this is something that I even teach inside of the VIP program, is like, you have to understand the ways that people learn. You have to know that everyone doesn't learn the way that you do, and you have to start to incorporate that inside of the way that you teach your courses. All right, so next question is, okay, where do you get started? So I think I just talked about that, like where to get started. But I would also say, don't create a course unless you have a system that is proven. Because a lot of times people will create courses based solely off of like an idea. They've never actually tested it. And sometimes it just has to be proved. Sometimes it does just have to be proven for yourself. And that's okay, as long as you accept the fact that everybody isn't going to be like you. So you have to include other methods of learning, or at least consider, the way that learning happens. For some people are auditory, some people are visual, some people are reflective, some people are, active learners. You have to consider all of those learning styles when it comes to creating your course. So when you get started, make sure that you have an idea, but the idea is, it's more than just, well, I think I can do this. It's like, I know that this is how this can work. Like, you have to start thinking in systems and thinking systematically when you're creating courses, because that's going to be part of the organization. It's going to be part of the steps that you walk somebody through, right? That's going to matter as well. So keep that in mind. So that's how you get started. And then what platform do you use? I use Kajabi. A lot of people inside a platform use Thinkific because it's just cheaper. So ClickFunnels is also one, but I find ClickFunnels to be very confusing. So if you're going to spend the money on ClickFunnels, I say go with Kajabi, but that's where you can house it. Facebook now has, or is rolling out the option where, you can have paid Facebook groups. So people pay in order to get access to Facebook groups. So that's another place to host it. But I will warn you that when you put something up on like inside of Facebook, then technically Facebook owns it. So keep copies of everything. Don't just throw your content up on social media or even Kajabi or ClickFunnels or anything. Don't just throw it up on there without keeping copies for yourself. So that those are places where you can host. Okay, now I'm going to go into my A-list entrepreneurs group, because there were a lot of questions in there as well. Okay, so hold on. Come on, it just keeps taking me to something. All right, anyway, so when it comes to courses, I'll also say a lot of people have problems with pricing. They start to go, I don't know how to price this, or they lowball themselves. And I'll tell you from just experience, people who lowball themselves, they actually end up disappointed with how their courses launch, simply because they're not in alignment with that anyway. And alignment is like a really big thing when it comes to launching, in my opinion, when it comes to launching, because if you have a negative association with the price that you're charging, then it's like, it's not going to come, because vibrationally, you're not even attracting people. And there's so many people who do that, even with one-on-one consulting. They'll say, well, no one is buying it. And usually what I tell clients is I say, well, raise your prices. Because you probably don't want to sell it. A lot of times when we dig deeper, they don't want to sell it at that price anyway. So if they don't want to sell it at that price, I feel like there's questions. And see, it's not popping up. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I'm sorry. Everybody's like doing like this, like writing, and I'm just now seeing it. So thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Shanika. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mona. You guys are amazing. These are all platforms. I was just talking to them and I told them I was live streaming, so they should join. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Shanika. Okay, so going into, let me see. Come on, really? Sorry, I'm looking for the course creation post because I told you I'd put this up yesterday. All right. Questions. Okay, where do you start? I think, Rosalind, we talked about this. I think we talked about where to start. So have one goal in mind for every course that you create, because you can create multiple, especially if it's like a little mini course or a self-study course. You don't want to overwhelm people when you're not present to walk them through what happens when they become overwhelmed. So that's a rule of thumb that I have. So if you're creating like a self-study, because there's different courses, there's self-study courses, then there are like group program courses where you're walking somebody through it like live. So my Nameless to Famous program is a self-study course. Platform is a group program that I walk people through. So when it comes to self-study programs, don't overwhelm people if they're not going to have the support for you to walk with them through it. That's another common mistake a lot of people have, is they try to throw everything in the kitchen sink inside of an online course. They say, this is a self-study course and I'm selling it for $9.97. Okay, that's great. But a lot of the reasons why people don't complete courses is because it's too daunting and they don't have the support that they need. Honestly, there's 2% of people finish courses, which is bad. Like, I think that is a bad statistic. Like 2% of people actually finish courses. You don't want to be somebody that creates a course that only 2% of people finish, because then you're not going to be able to sell it again because you don't have the social proof to back up the fact that this was a system that worked for people, right? You want to have high success rates in your courses. We're talking about, you know, I mean, I think the standard of what people shoot for is like 20%, but like my courses typically finish somewhere around like 70%, right? But even in my self-study courses, it's usually that many people, because I think it's important to make sure that you have a balance between what can somebody do on their own and what does somebody need me to actually walk them through. And you, as the expert, as the leader in your industry, you have to decide that, because you know, like, if I cannot, there's no way in integrity I would create like a program similar to Platform and then expect for somebody to do it on their own. Like, that is, like, as a coach, as an online educator, as somebody who's passionate about what I do, like, I know for a fact that it requires a great deal of support to build an online business. I know that, right? Not just from personal experience, but just from research. I know that, right? However, Nameless and Famous was a program about creating online videos, like how to create brand-worthy videos for YouTube and things like that. Well, that's an easy thing for somebody to walk through by themselves. And then if they want to contact me, then they have that option inside of a private Facebook group. So you'll have to consider, okay, how daunting is this task? And can I, again, with integrity and with all sincerity, deliver this content to somebody and then expect for them to complete it on their own? Does that sound like a win for them? Or is it something that I need to be present for? And between those two things, that's how you can also determine your pricing. Because obviously, if you have to be present for something and your brain power is going to be fueling sessions, then that automatically is going to be something that you can charge more for, right? Because you're now present for that content. If it's something that's just a self-study program that, you know, people can just access on demand, then usually the price for that kind of item isn't as high as if I was, you know, coaching them one-on-one, if that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. And even with challenges, this is a really good point. Even with challenges, I create the challenges the same way that I create courses. And sometimes, like, I even got away from calling them challenges because I was just like, my 4-part, if you're in Path to Profit, it's really a challenge, but I don't want to call it a challenge because I feel like so many people call things challenges and they're not, right? So I just was like, I'm not calling it a challenge. I'm going to call it a training series, but it really is challenges because you're going to get emails in the morning with prompts on what to do, and then we'll do a live stream in the evening, the same way that I run all of my challenges, because I create that curriculum in the same vein that I create my program curriculums. So if you've ever been in one of my challenges, then you know, like, there's a specific way that I do that as well. Thank you. Y'all are so awesome. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, Colleen said, my biggest question is, how do I create a course around overcoming anxiety if I'm not a therapist? This is great. Amem, if you're here, this is actually, the answer is going to be really good for you as well. Because I was speaking to Amem a little bit earlier, and what I was saying, a lot of people, they have this feeling like a fraud symptom. And the cool thing is that I think Harvard actually did a study on feeling like a fraud. And the people that felt like frauds actually were not, but the people who didn't feel like frauds were actually the frauds. So if you have something where you're starting to think, like, can I teach this to somebody? Like, I don't know if I have the qualifications. That's actually a good sign. It's a good sign, not that you're feeling like a fraud. I think that's a mindset thing we get over. But if you have that feeling, it means that deep down, you really just want to be of service to people. Like, deep down, you really want to offer up some really good content for your people. So I'm going to affirm you in that and say that's actually a good thing. Now, regarding your specific question about creating a course on overcoming anxiety, if I'm not a therapist, it doesn't even have to be that big. Like, right? Like, I think, like, there are a lot of life coaches who help people overcome anxiety without being licensed therapists. And I think that is okay, provided by the fact that your system has worked in the past. Like you've worked with people one-on-one, or you have, you've done it for yourself or something like that. And you're not claiming anything clinical. Like you can't claim yourself as a therapist if you're not one, because I think that's illegal. But when it comes to the course creation, it's the same thing. What is the end result? Okay, they're going to get over anxiety. If I was going to sit with somebody in a room and I was going to walk them through how to get over anxiety, where would I start? What are all the components that they need to know? Do they need to know how to journal? Do they need to know how to pray? Do they need to know how to have affirmations? Like, do they need to exercise more? Like, what are the components of building out or helping somebody walk through getting over anxiety? Then I would just module it up, and I would put all the things that go well together. So maybe it's mind, body, and spirit to get over anxiety is what I would say. Like, so maybe like all of the mind stuff goes in one module, all of the body stuff goes in another module, and then all of the spiritual stuff goes in another module. And then maybe you have a bonus module on books, like resources, that are available to them. And you can even put like other, kind of like hotline therapy things. So I would start there with creating a course for how to overcome anxiety. But you don't have to feel like a fraud as somebody who, that's very much a life coaching thing. Helping people get over fear, helping people get over anxiety. That's a life coach kind of deal. So you're just a life coach that helps people with anxiety. And I think that that's totally okay. Yeah. And to that effect, Shaniqua said, usually because there are people who have experienced it and helped others. And to that effect, you only, like I was saying to Emma, you only need to be ahead of people, like by a little bit in order to help them, right? Like, and the way that I explain it is when somebody wants to start an online business, or when somebody wants to start a business, they're not going to call Warren Buffett. Right? Like I'll use myself. When I started a business, I didn't call Warren Buffett. I wasn't like, hey, Warren, you have a multi-billion-dollar business. Can you help me? Like, no, that's way too far ahead. My mind isn't even there yet. I hadn't even made $1 in my business yet. So there's no way that I was going to call Warren Buffett and think that that was going to work for me. I found a coach who I felt like was a few steps ahead of where I was to help me out. Having said that, there's something to be said about that, but there's also something to be said about working with a professional, right? And at some point you go from just being a few steps ahead of somebody to being the expert in your industry. And that's really where I want to get everybody to, is to be the expert in their industry. Because like I said earlier, times are changing, and there's now going to be a separation between the good coaches and consultants and the ones who are just playing entrepreneur. Right. So my goal is always to get people far enough ahead that they are the industry experts, that when people think there is salience to their brand, meaning when somebody thinks about writing a book, I hope they think about Shaniqua Cannon, right? When somebody thinks about money, and you guys know Stacy, I don't know if Stacy's on here, but she's always inside of my Facebook group posting about money and money mindset and motivating your money and getting out of debt. When somebody thinks about that, I hope they think of Stacy Daniel, right? So that's the goal, is to be so present in the online space and so available to your audience that there is brand salience, something that I haven't even talked about very much, because it's something that I'm still learning, honestly, and having this discussion even with my own coach about brand salience and what that looks like for people. So consider that as well, that you to create an online course, or to help anybody, you really only need to be a little bit farther ahead than them. Having said that, there's more value to being way farther ahead. But the more you create courses and the more that you coach people and the more you consult on your industry topic and your area of genius, then the farther along you become, the more valuable you become to the people at the beginning stages. And also your value as a brand increases as well. Yes, that is true. That is true. And eventually it's really interesting because, I've been in this online space for, as a coach now for like 2 years. And I'm starting to see people who I started out with like fade to the wayside. Like the ones who have it like are elevating, and the ones who don't have long since just quit. Like, when I first started as an online entrepreneur, in the Facebook groups, doing the Facebook group thing and just being present and seeing who is available, like a lot of them, they just because if it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. So there's that. So consider. Okay, let me get back to the questions. Olivia says, I just finished my landing page for a course on sex and depression. Still unsure about the pricing on it since I'm not an expert. First of all, you create a course. So to some degree, you are an expert, Olivia. And I talked about pricing a little bit earlier. Self-study, walking them through. So those are going to determine the price points. I explained I don't even think I can re-explain it, but I explained the other day inside a platform how I created the price points for like self-study programs is I take a look at how many, like what my hourly rate is. And that's really subjective. Like you have to kind of take a look at like what you would consider your hourly rate to be, and then multiply that by how long it takes you to create the course. So if it takes me, what did I say? I don't remember, like 8 hours, 6 hours to create like a module, something like that. When I say create it, film the video, edit the video, write the workbook, right? Because my modules are pretty involved. All that stuff, it takes me that long. And then I multiply the hours by that. And then like all the hours it takes for me to create the course. And then I look at like my initial launch of the program. When I initially launch a program, how many people do I want in the launch? And then I will usually this is only for self-study. This is not for if I'm present. And then I will divide that number by, like, if I want 12 people in the program, for example, and let's say, it took me I don't have my calculator. Why don't I have my calculator? I use my phone. If it took me 30 hours to create something, 30 hours times my hourly rate, and then I will divide that number by how many people I want to sign up the first round. And then that's what the course ends up being, if that makes any sense. So that's usually how I will do that. That's how I'll create like pricing. And I know that that's not an exact science. That's just how I do it. A lot of the times though, people they'll have an idea for a price and then they'll second guess themselves. And don't do that. Like, I was even talking to somebody earlier and she said, well, I have an idea for how I want the price to be. And I was like, well, what is it? She was like, I don't know. Yes, you do. What is the price? Because we're going to set the price there. And we can always offer the discounts and the fast action bonuses where we cut off $200, or we can always do that. But whatever the price is that is in your brain is the price that it needs to be. So don't second guess that price. Take a look at industry standard, right? And see what other people are offering. And I have a whole way for people to kind of map this out. Like I have a whole chart for it and a whole system for how people inside a platform are going to look at this, for how they're really going to create their pricing strategy. And then I'll walk you through it. Obviously, I'll be there with you the entire time. So I walk you through the pricing strategy, just, kind of me as a support as well. But take a look at what is offered in the industry. And I know there's always something to be said about there's no competition. We're all doing this. Yes, of course. Like there's plenty of space for all of us. But I think my philosophy behind that is you have to see what is being offered to at least get an idea of what is acceptable in that industry. You will find a lot of clarity when it comes to looking at filling the gap and all that stuff, but don't feel bad about saying, well, this person offers it at $1,000. I can offer it $1,000 too. That's okay. Now, I will say this, for like programs like, let's just say platform for people who are wanting to start businesses. I'll tell you that mine is a luxury program, and I don't make any apologies for it because the system works. My credentialing will speak for itself, and I have a very high success rate. So I'm not going to offer something for $997 simply because the weight, I think that there is importance to the weight of investment that somebody is going to invest in themselves. And I know we hear it all the time, invest in yourself, you must invest in yourself, invest in yourself. We hear it all the time because we're coaches and we always say it. That's fine. Okay, I get that. Having said that, I do know that there is an energetic exchange to how much somebody invests in themselves and the output and the result that they're going to get. Like how much effort they're going to put in it is going to be directly correlated to what they're going to get in return. So when I offer something at a high-end price, it's because there is a high-end result on the other side of it, right? So I don't just say, well, this costs $10,000 and that's what it's going to be. There's an energetic match to that, right? And so just consider that when you're thinking about your pricing. Lots of mindset work needed here. Platform. Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Kathy. I love my platform people. They're like my little family. All right, Safira says, what type of online course do I want where I'm facilitating the classroom, self-driven, or both? Work smarter, not harder. So I think we talked a little bit about that as well. It's like there's different kinds. You can decide. You can create both. I have both. I have both programs that I'm fully present for and I walk people through, and then I have self-study courses that are available on demand to anybody who wants it. So, and sometimes I'll phase them out. I don't even sell Nameless to Famous anymore. I mean, I can, like if somebody's like, hey, I want that course, I'll, you know, but it's not like anywhere where people can, I don't actively promote it or anything like that. So there's that. Okay, so those are all the questions that you guys asked me about digital courses. I hope that that was really helpful for you. If there's one thing that I hope that you walk away with when it comes to creating digital courses, it's that understanding curriculum is the most important. Like, please don't slap together a course and then think that that's going to work, because if people do it and they don't get results, then it's not really going to be a good look for you. I think that's all that I wanted to say about online courses. Let me see. I had some notes. Where did my notes go? Let me find them. Just to make sure that I don't. Okay, so let me give you the reasons. I wrote down reasons why you should create an online course. So this is important. One, and this is on my Instagram as well. So if you don't catch it in the live stream, it's on my Instagram. It builds credibility, because if you have a system that works and you are the creator of something that is proprietary information, you automatically kind of get elevated to that space of industry expert and credible source. It allows you to reach more people, because the truth of the matter is that you can't have 95 one-on-one clients, but you can have 95 people taking an online course. You know, you can do that. So it allows you to reach more people without you physically having to be there. It's a smaller container. Everyone is not going to be able to, they may not, I should say, be able to afford like your one-on-one coaching package. Like my one-on-one coaching package starts at like $12,000. Everybody's not going to be able to afford a $12,000 coaching program with me. So I will offer, you know, online courses and digital resources for them. And that starts anywhere from, I think, $27, I think on my ebook, I think my ebook's like $18, you know, all the way up to $500 when it comes to digital courses. So there's a wide range of like the digital courses, and then of course platform, which is the higher end, but it's also because it's not self-study. It's because I'm actually physically there with you, coaching you along. It also helps you diversify your offering, again, because you should have a product suite. If you're in the VIP program inside of Platform, and we're going to cover that next month, actually, if you're in VIP, we will cover having a product suite and what that looks like. So you shouldn't just have like one course. I recommend having a gamut of courses. And then lastly, it's going to create an asset for you that you can sell over and over again. It becomes passive. If you know, we can set a funnel. I can help you with that. I can help you create a passive income funnel so that you're getting money every single day. And actually, if you're in Path to Profit, so if you haven't signed up for the Path to Profit, we're going to talk a little bit about that inside of there as well. So that it becomes more automated, more passive, so that you don't even have to touch it and you're waking up to PayPal notifications. I woke up to 3 this morning. FYI, just letting you know. I have passive income funnels that are running. Sometimes I turn them off, sometimes I keep them on, but I woke up to 3 PayPal notifications, which is pretty good, you know, at 6:30 in the morning. Okay. When will you offer VIP again? It's offered right now, so you can sign up for the VIP list. It is, I'll type it in here. So you can actually sign up for the VIP list now, and then you will have access to the VIP trainings there. Another way to come up with a course idea. A lot of people, I think, have asked me in the past, not this time, but have asked me in the past, how do I like come up with a course idea? If you're a coach or you're a consultant, what are the common questions that people are always asking you? That's how I created Nameless to Famous, honestly. It was like, the story behind Nameless to Famous, I don't know if I've shared this, but the story behind it is that when I first entered into the online entrepreneur space, I didn't know what I wanted to be, like specifically. I think I knew that I wanted to motivate people. I knew that I had the ability to really like help them transform from like one mindset to another. I didn't even know what a mindset coach was at the time. So I thought I was like a life coach, or I was going to be one. But I really didn't want to be like a life coach either, because there are so many like tangible, like strategic things that I knew how to do, like in terms of branding and online branding. So I kept my YouTube channel very separate from I guess, my introduction to the online entrepreneur world. Somehow in one of the Facebook groups, somebody found out that I had this, relatively successful YouTube channel. And then they were like, oh my God, how do I do that? Like, I want to have a YouTube channel too. How does that happen? How do you get subscribers? How do you get views? How do you make videos? And I was like, oh, like, that's what people want? Like, people want to make videos on YouTube? Well, I've been doing that for years. And that sounds so simple. Like, to me, like, it blew my mind that people didn't know how to make videos. I was like, because I'd been in the YouTube space for so long that like all of my online friends made videos. So what do you mean? So then in the same Facebook group or another Facebook group, I don't remember, I posted, how many of you, I said, I'm a YouTuber. I have this many video views, this many subscribers. I've been on YouTube. I've worked with, Cosmopolitan Magazine and Herbal Essences and all this stuff. How many of you want to make videos on YouTube? And in 15 minutes, I had 50 people reply and say, me, like, send me something. I had nothing. I didn't have a freebie. I didn't have a course. I didn't even have an idea. I just had a whole bunch of people that said, I want to know how to make YouTube videos. This was January of 2016. This is beginning of January 2016. So then I said, well, gosh darn it. Like, that seems like a simple thing to do. I can teach people how to make videos. This is easy for me. And so I set up a webinar, and I did a webinar, and I hadn't created anything. This is another tip. I don't create anything that I have not sold. Like, that is my hard rule. When it comes to my brand, when it comes to what I do not create anything that does not sell first. Because what I'm not going to do is throw, 30 hours of my time into creating something that nobody wants. So that is like a hard rule that I have. Now, I'll create an outline, I'll create a sales page, I'll create all the collateral that goes with it. We'll talk about collateral and stuff when we do the Plan to Profit training series in a couple weeks. I'll create all the collateral, but I will not create a course. I won't create a workbook. I won't sign up for Kajabi. I won't do any of that. So I held a webinar, and I said, okay, if 10 people buy this program, I'll create it, right? So I was like, okay, I want it to be priced at this, and I said, I'll give people, since it hasn't been created yet, I'll give people, a discount if they sign up and they wait 24 days. So I had my webinar on February 4th. And then I didn't run Facebook ads. I didn't do any of that stuff because I didn't know how to do any of that yet. So no Facebook ads, just purely to my people that I'd been connecting with online inside of Facebook groups, in my own Facebook group. And by the way, if you're an A-list entrepreneurs did not start out with 5,000 people in it. It started out with 13 of my friends. So AJ, thank you for being with me. When a group started out with only 13 people. So I invited all my friends, and I invited all my online friends to this webinar that I was having about video and how to make videos. And then at the end of that training, I had sold, I think it was 17. I'd sold 17 at the end of that webinar, like from the webinar itself. After the webinar was over, 17 people had signed up. And I remember I sat in my bed and I cried. I cried like a little baby because, first of all, I didn't realize how easy it was to take a skill that you have and translate that into serving people and helping people. And I thought that was just, I knew that I wanted to be an online entrepreneur, but I was like, oh my gosh, like all of those years of being branded and broke on YouTube means something now, because now I can help people make videos, and shout out to my ex-boyfriend who was a filmmaker and has taught me pretty much everything that I knew when it came to cameras and making cameras and lighting things and stuff like that, because so much of what he taught me went into Nameless to Famous. So even that relationship was beneficial to that. So I don't know, sometimes, I don't know if Tony's watching, but Tony, thank you so much for teaching me everything that you taught me. We're friendly. So it wasn't like a weird breakup. It was actually very good. But yeah. So I learned a lot, and so it shows you that everything that you've been through, everything that you've learned is for a reason, because I was really able to serve people. And then I did that webinar, and then I went into hustle mode because I was like, oh my God, 17 people bought this thing. I need to make it. And so I think I didn't sleep for like 24 days because I needed to get this course created in 24 days. But thankfully, again, you're very familiar with curriculum. I was already in my doctoral program at the time, so I was very familiar with curriculum and creating it. And so I was able to create a very successful program. I was actually in Las Vegas not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. And I had no idea that, Kim, my dear friend Kim, who organized the Total Woman Experience conference, she was like, Tracy, come up here for a minute. And then she had somebody else come up who had won, like I offered it as like a giveaway the year before, and she won access to the course. And she talked about how, it was life-changing for her, and she was able to, really show herself and brand herself in a different way. And she wrote this book, and now she's going through the course again because the course is helping her like rebrand. And I was like, well, look at God, because sometimes you create stuff and you don't realize how valuable it is. And, I still get a lot of really good feedback on Nameless to Famous that I created, even though it was rushed. I don't want to say it was rushed. I would say that's how long it took. I mean, it took 24 days to create. I will say that I put all of my heart and soul into creating it. And whatever skill you have, it's probably a transferable one that you can turn into something that you can help somebody else with. So if you help somebody overcome anxiety, even if you just write an ebook with a little video training, that's a mini course. That's something that can help somebody. If you know how to cut grass, and you find that people are cutting grass the wrong way, create a course. There was a 12-year-old who created a course on sleepovers and made $20,000. So if 20-year-olds are saving up for their college tuition from their bedroom, I'm pretty sure that somebody who's lived several decades on this planet has a little more to offer than that, right? And so you really can do some really great stuff with the knowledge that's inside of your brain. So don't forget that. Cool. All right. Well, now it's 10:49 and I love you guys a ton. Oh my gosh, we've been on here for almost an hour. Thank you guys. If you stuck with me for that long, y'all are awesome. I'm going to go. I hope that answered all your questions about digital courses. If not, we have the Path to Profit training series that is coming up, where I will do live streams every single day for 4 days in a row. So all you have to do is save up your questions and you can ask me inside of there, and I will be there to support you through that. If you want to get on the VIP list for Platform, the registration for enrolling in Platform doesn't open for over 30 days, but you can at least get on the list, and the link is up there. So I'm going to now go. I'm going to edit this and I'm going to put it up on IGTV because I promised people that I would put it up there as well. So love you guys a ton. I'll talk to you soon.